It was a cold, gray Sunday in Ashbourne, a quiet town nestled amidst rolling hills. Rain lashed against the window panes of a quaint two-story house where 39-year-old Eleanor Hart lived with her husband. For 12 years, the house had been a sanctuary, its four walls echoing with quiet laughter, whispered secrets, and the soft tread of their shared life. But today, the silence was thick, heavy with unspoken words and a burgeoning sense of unease. Eleanor was an illustrator of botanicals, a talent she honed in the solitude of her sunroom. Though she possessed a quiet strength, her colleagues often commented on her introverted nature. However, with her husband, there was a tenderness that bloomed within her, a warmth that belied her reserved exterior. David Hart, a respected history professor with a gentle voice and a habit of kissing his wife's forehead each morning, was her anchor. Their weekends were filled with hikes along the muddy banks of the nearby river, evenings spent reading silently, their shared silences never feeling empty, but the routine of their life was about to shatter. While searching for an old receipt in the labyrinthine recesses of the house, Eleanor stumbled upon a leather-bound diary tucked inside a false compartment of her husband's old writing desk, a desk he inherited from his father and always said was just for paperwork. It was a moment that would change everything. With trembling hands, she opened the diary, revealing meticulously penned entries chronicling a life that had nothing to do with her. It was a decade-long testament to a love affair, a secret existence that mirrored the very essence of her deepest fears. The first entry was dated the week after their wedding. Married Eleanor today. She's kind, beautiful, devoted, but I don't love her the way I should. I married her because she made me feel stable, because she never asked me to explain myself. Each entry after that was like a fresh wound tearing open the fabric of her reality. It became clear that David had been in love with another woman, Claire Whitmore, a former graduate student, for nearly a decade. It wasn't a fleeting affair, but a slow, consuming emotional bond nurtured over long walks, shared books, and late-night conversations at academic conferences. Claire wasn't just a student. She was brilliant, fearless, and unafraid of silence. That was the one quality David envied in her. Here was a passage from one of the entries. She sees the cracks in me and doesn't try to fill them. She just sits beside them. Eleanor loves me like I'm a statue. Claire loves me like I'm a storm. Eleanor's hands trembled as she read on. The diary revealed a love story that she wasn't part of, a narrative that unfolded without her, a betrayal that cut deep into the core of her being. There were no physical affairs described, at least not explicitly. But the emotional intimacy was devastating. Shared hotel rooms during conferences, a kiss once in the rain, outside a Parisian cafe. I pulled away, but my soul didn't. And a recurring dream David wrote about. I wake up beside Claire, and the world feels right. Then I open my eyes and see Eleanor's nightgown on the chair, and I feel like a fraud. Eleanor felt the blood drain from her face as she continued reading. David's entries spoke of stolen moments, of longing glances and whispered words. At times, his words were raw, pained confessions of a man torn between duty and desire. Other times, they were poetic musings on the nature of love itself. She learned that David had once planned to leave her. He wrote an unsent letter. Eleanor, I can't keep pretending. I love you, but not enough to be honest with you. And that's the worst kind of betrayal. He never sent it. Instead, he buried it in the diary and continued life as if nothing was broken. The most painful entry was recent, dated just 3 weeks ago. Eleanor brought me soup when I was sick. She sat by my bed, humming that old song from our youth. I wanted to cry. Not because I was touched, but because I felt nothing. I watched her and thought, this woman has given me her whole life, and I've given her half a heart. Eleanor closed the diary, her heart a leaden weight in her chest. The trust she had placed in her husband, the love she had so freely given now seemed like naivety. She didn't confront David immediately. She began to observe, watching the way he folded his laundry, the way he smiled at nothing while reading, the way he sometimes stared at the garden she planted for him, as if looking past it. She discovered that Claire now lived in Vermont, ran a small art gallery, and still corresponded with David, officially as colleagues. But in the diary, he wrote, I saw a photo of her holding a child. I don't know if it's hers. I hope not. Because if she can love someone else that way, then I was never her storm. I was just a passing cloud. Days turned into weeks. Eleanor found herself revisiting moments from her past, questioning her choices and wondering if she had missed any signs of the cracks in their marriage. Flashbacks weaved through her grief. David teaching her to swim at the lake, holding her during thunderstorms, whispering, "You're my safe place." Now those words felt like a prison. He was safe, not because he loved her, but because she provided him with a stability he feared he might lose. One night, after David fell asleep, Eleanor read the final entry. "I don't know how to fix this. I don't even know if I want to. I'm tired of pretending. But I'm more tired of hurting her, so I stay. And every day I betray us both." Eleanor didn't confront David. The truth had already shattered her trust. The diary became her only link to a reality she could no longer comprehend. It was a constant reminder of a love story that had unfolded without her, a betrayal that cut deep into the core of her being. The breaking point came when Eleanor found a small sketch tucked in the back of the diary, a drawing of Claire's face, done in pencil, so tender it ached. Beneath it, in David's handwriting, "The woman I never had the courage to choose." The next morning, Eleanor packed a suitcase. David woke to the sound of the front door closing. He found a single page torn from his diary on the kitchen table, the entry where he calls Eleanor safe, with one word circled over and over in red ink: not enough. She didn't leave town. She moved into her late mother's cottage on the edge of the woods, a place filled with childhood memories and the lingering scent of her mother's lavender perfume. It was here that Eleanor began to heal, to piece together the fragments of her life. She stopped illustrating flowers, finding solace in drawing thorns, roots, and trees with cracked bark, symbols of resilience and endurance. Her world became smaller, quieter, but it was in this solitude that she started to find herself again. Meanwhile, David remained in the house. He stopped writing, donated the desk, but kept one thing: the sketch of Claire. Not because he wanted her, but because it was proof he once felt something so deeply it terrified him. Weeks turned into months. The vibrant colors of autumn painted the landscape as Eleanor started teaching art to children at the community center. She watched with a bittersweet smile as they laughed, their youthful joy echoing the innocence she once possessed. One day, a former student of David's, now a friend of Eleanor's, found her sitting in her garden. "Why do thorns grow on roses?" the little girl asked. Eleanor smiled. "Because even the most beautiful things need to protect themselves." The friend sat beside her, quietly acknowledging the sorrow that still lingered in Eleanor's eyes. "He loved you like a duty," she said softly. "He loved her like a dream. But dreams don't keep you warm at night. You did, and still he mourned what he didn't have." Slowly, life began to tilt back on its axis. Eleanor found comfort in the normalcy of daily routines, the warmth of friendship, and the unconditional love of her rescue cat, a calico whose purrs were a constant lullaby. As winter approached, the bare branches of trees reaching towards the leaden sky seemed to mirror the stark landscape of her heart. But amidst the cold, a new resolve bloomed within her. David continued to live in the house, its echoing halls bearing witness to his silent grief. Every morning, he would stand by the window, watching the mist rise from Eleanor's cottage, wondering if she had forgiven him. The truth was, Eleanor had long since stopped wondering why. She understood the complexities of the human heart, the silent yearnings and unspoken desires that can fester in the shadows of a loveless marriage. The rain that had fallen on the day she discovered the diary had washed away a part of her naivety, leaving behind a strength she hadn't known she possessed. She carried the weight of her pain not with bitterness, but with a quiet dignity. As the years passed, both Eleanor and David found ways to navigate their lives, each carrying the weight of their shared history in their own silence. Theirs was a story of love and loss, of dreams deferred and paths not taken, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to heal, adapt, and endure.